And we are back. Welcome, everyone. We are continuing the journey to the Snyder Cut. This is, I believe, the fourth entry because it is the fourth film within the DCEU chronologically. And first, before anything, before we get into the topic, before we, talk about who this is, what we love about it, what we don't love about it, I am joined by Daniel of the show no one asked for. Daniel, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good, just chilling. We're ready to talk about this DC stuff.
Thank you
Uh,
for having me on.
yeah,
Thank you. I'm glad to be back. Honored.
of course.
Love the Goat podcast and what you guys do. It's great.
Oh man, neither of us have our DC shirts on. It's
No, right. I'm missing my Superman, my Justice League, and my Batman shirt. All of them.
yeah,
Dirty laundry day. So
yeah. See, I wanted to talk about Wonder Woman, but I got the RoboCop shirt on.
yeah,
So
exactly. So this isn't gonna work.
why don't we just talk about RoboCop instead?
Yeah,
Which I
exactly.
would be down with.
I would.
Journey to
I'll,
the Snyder Cut, RoboCop. That's
of
cool.
course, I'm down. Why not? Everyone would be down. I'm pretty sure.
They should. I should think they should make a RoboCop a part of that world. Honestly.
Yeah, I feel like you would fit into that universe, Like, so I don't know. I like RoboCop in anything. RoboCop versus Terminator, RoboCop versus Predator, RoboCop versus Judge Dredd. RoboCop, cross them over with anything. I don't care. I love RoboCop. So
About when he was being written by DC's homeboy Frank Miller.
oh hey, that was it. It's a little crazy, but that's what RoboCop needs. RoboCop needs the crazy, the grit. I love RoboCop. I told you I saw
Peter
uh
Weller.
yeah, with my homie Dill. I saw the movie with sitting right next to Peter Weller and his wife. We went to the Egyptian in
Mhm.
Hollywood, and yeah, it was super packed. Super packed, and we were trying to get there early. We were early, but obviously everyone was way earlier. We thought we were being like, okay, it's gonna be kind of packed. It's only 30 minutes early. No, but I'm sure people were there for a long time. And it was kind of like you just bought a general seat, but they had the tickets to the brim because we seriously had the last seats. And I think we were lucky because it was Peter Weller and like his crew sitting there. So I think people thought those seats were like the last seats being saved. And so and they weren't. They were just open seats, and he's kind of just waiting for everything to be packed and for the theater to start. And they were trying to get everything ready anyways. So me and my homie, we were like, no, we got to get concessions. We guess so. We're like running through, and then we're in the aisle, and we're like, oh my goodness, there's seriously nothing. This dude taps us on the shoulder, who's standing right in the aisle, taps us on the shoulder, and he's like, hey man, you can sit right here. And I'm like I'm not paying attention. I just like got tapped, and I kind of, it's kind of close to make eye contact. So I'm just like, oh, hey. And then I hear him, he points, he's like, hey, those two seats are not taken right there if you and your friend want to sit there. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Thanks, man. And so then we sit, and then my homie Dill sits on the inside, I sit, and then it's his wife sits down, and then he's standing, and then he comes and sits next to his wife. And at first I'm kind of just like sitting, we're both just sitting and we're eating. We don't even notice until we're like, okay, we're settled in. And then we're like, all right, kind of waiting for the movie to start and taking it all in, like, oh man, it's packed. Yeah, it's packed. And then we look, and he's Peter Weller he's the guy that tapped me in the aisle. He's just standing there. And so then I'm looking, and I'm like, wait, hey, Dill. And then it was like, yeah, what's up? And I was like, is that Peter Weller? Is that RoboCop? Murphy? And then he's like, that's Murphy. Like, confirm, just super serious, just that's Murphy. We were like, oh my god. And we're sitting over, and then I could have sworn I heard one of his homies be like to his other homie, like, I think he just noticed that that's Peter Weller. Like, Peter Weller told him to sit down. And I was like, oh shit, because I was going nuts in my seat. And then when he sat down, I was like, oh my goodness, he's sitting here. He's sitting right here. So we got to see RoboCop with Peter Weller
Right
and
with him.
right with him, like super close. It was super fun. It was quite an experience because I've there's like a few movies that
Hmm.
are the movies that got you into cinema when you're a
Hmm.
kid that like really wowed you. Godzilla is one. Even the first one did it to me, but RoboCop for sure. RoboCop for sure
Oh
was
yeah.
one.
Well, that would definitely be the equivalent to a young girl in the future going to see Wonder Woman
Let's
at the theater
go.
with them, because that is
Yeah,
what we were going to be talking about.
let's do it. Sorry about
No, no,
that.
don't worry about it. Wonder Woman is definitely, I feel like that story will probably happen again with Wonder Woman in the future, because Wonder Woman, if no one knows, you'd be living under a rock. She
Mhm.
is one of the biggest players within this world of the DCEU. Her film came out in 2017, directed by Patty Jenkins, and it was a huge success, unbelievable success. People were loving it, thought it was great. People paid for it. That was one of the worries about female-led superhero films, is that they don't make money. They're not very good usually. We had Elektra before, Catwoman, and those were not the best examples of what the female filmmakers could bring to this genre. And then one day, Wonder Woman decided to come out, and everyone loved it. And she's an icon now. She was an icon anyway, but now, because she got that proper cinematic introduction, she is on a bigger level than ever. I mean, Wonder Woman 84 did come out, so I don't know. Let's talk about 2017 Wonder Woman just for now. All right? Well, just
Let's
for now.
yeah. We'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll
We'll get
we'll
into it.
we'll tease a little bit, because we will be having a Wonder Woman 84 separate discussion.
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
we definitely do have to wait
Okay,
to really
okay,
tear
cool,
that
cool.
ass up,
I see,
as
I
it
see,
were.
I see, I see.
One thing I want to bring up before we talk about this film, we have to actually talk about Wonder Woman as a character, the history
Okay.
of Wonder Woman, because it is a fascinating story. I don't know if you're familiar at all with the creation of Wonder Woman. Are you at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's right there. Isn't there like several iterations? But there's the one where she's sculpted, and then Zeus
Hmm.
gives her.
Well, yeah,
That's
there's
from the
there.
movie, right? And that's like
Yeah,
what
they
they
kind
do.
of bridge a couple different origins
That's what
together.
I'm saying. Yeah. So there's,
Yeah.
there's a couple of them, but that's the one people know, and
Hmm.
Ares is her dad is the other one, right? That's from
Yeah.
the cartoon. So yeah, there's a few, right? So yeah, I
Well,
mean,
there's the origin, and then there's the creation of the character. Like the man, the writer who decided to create Wonder Woman, I find him to be a very fascinating type of guy, honestly,
yeah,
because it's just so unthinkable. Like, okay, wait a minute. This guy had this type of past, and he created a character that is so iconic. Now, the guy who created him
mhm,
was someone named William Moulton Marston. I hope I'm not butchering that. William Moulton Marston. He was a professor at several universities: American University in Washington, Tufts University in Massachusetts, and eventually he ended up at USC over here in California. This is the guy right here, and this is Sensational Comics, where he was writing Wonder Woman. Uh, it's a very interesting story with him. He was a professor. Obviously, he was married, and he got into a polyamorous relationship with his wife and a female student. So, which obviously, ethically, I don't know. I mean, everyone's going to have different opinions on whether that was the right thing to do. But
mhm.
obviously, the family did hold tight together because they raised kids together. All three of them. It was not a weird thing for the kids, because they grew up seeing three partners working
and
together.
and yeah, and from what I'm aware of, they lived together at least even after he died.
Yeah,
Wives lived together until they died.
yeah,
So it wasn't. I mean, they were all like, I don't know. Clearly, once he left, they could be like, okay, now we're done. But they still stated they obviously liked each other, and
yeah.
I don't know. There's something there, but I don't know. Yeah, not a maybe not a good look. I don't know.
Well,
So
I mean, it's definitely like an argument for relationships not just being like man, wife.
mhm,
It's not, especially during those times, the
right,
40s,
right.
where things were very conservative, mainly in terms of American culture. You know, the broad strokes is the America that people refer to nowadays as being the good old days.
Mm.
It had this air about it, being like, okay, what, we got to call the police on these people. What they are doing is inherently wrong, and
Yeah.
they are going to mess these kids up because it doesn't conform with how we're doing it in our house, you know?
Cancel culture before cancel culture. Yes.
Yeah, literally, it was actual cancel culture, you know?
Yeah.
If they had Twitter back then,
Yeah.
shit.
Oh my goodness. Good thing they did it, you know. But I don't know, for sports, for sports though, I feel like it would have been so cool to have to Twitter, or, you know, imagine Tyson with Twitter or something. You know, like
Oh no.
that-
Babe Ruth
that-
with Twitter.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know how I just wonder how that would have turned out.
Yeah.
But
Jackie
there's still
Robinson's
exciting stuff.
tweeting, I got discriminated again.
Yeah.
Cancel the Dodgers.
So I stepped into an ice cream shop. So I walked onto a bus, and you know, like, you know what I mean? Like it would have been weird tweets.
Well, you probably would have had like a segregated Twitter,
Oh yeah, probably most
like a
likely.
blacks only, a whites only Twitter.
No, but I just think it's funny because it's always something, and they label it something else, like
Yeah,
conservatism or whatever. Now they call it cancel culture. You know,
right.
it's always a group of people trying to shut up another group of people. You know, like
Yeah.
that's it's just the way the cycle goes. You know.
Well, speaking
So
of the cycle, Daniel, the shit gets deeper with these people because they were into some binding stuff. They were into S&M or SMN. Is it S&M?
SNM, yeah,
S&M culture. They were
yeah,
interested
get it
in.
right, dude. You know,
I'm sorry, I'm not as
we
experienced as
really
the show note asked for. Cancel. You don't. The SMN is that those motherfuckers over there.
what a mockery you just made of this very well-respected group. You know,
I'm gonna end up like in one of those tribes all bounded up.
this
Gonna
video
be.
won't age well. This clip.
I'm gonna be in a history class. This is what ignorance is.
Exactly.
They were into bondage culture.
Yeah.
They were completely introducing each other into ties, ropes, and everything,
Mm.
submission, dominance, and all that. And you can see those traits
Mhm.
transmitted into the comics of Wonder Woman. Like back then,
Right.
he was writing and people were drawing his words of Wonder Woman gets tied up by these villains, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like on the post and everything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Um. So it's kind of hard because like I don't know the guy, and I'm not saying like, you know, I don't know, I wouldn't have known that. That's really deep, like knowing what that dude does in his bedroom, to be able to even judge him on that, you know what I mean, is weird that I even know that information. So like
Yeah,
I mean, history is history, right? And things
yeah.
come out, and it is what it is. But that was, I guess that was their relationship. Maybe I don't understand, like I'm not about about that, like that doesn't work. But but for me, like, you know what I mean, like, but I'm or maybe no, I'm just I'm
You're
just
trying
saying,
to.
like,
Yeah, I know
it's
what you're trying to do. You're trying to figure out the future. Well, people are gonna be like, "No."
right, be on both sides. So, no, play the clip longer. They cut out the other part where I said I'm down, like,
The instructor is about to be like, "So this is called wishing washing."
this is called flip flopping.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
max flip flopper. No, but I don't know. I'm just saying, like, right? That's kind of weird. That's, you know, I don't know. That's kind of like, how do you, why do we even know that? But let's
Mhm.
say let's say we take that out and I didn't know that. All I would know is these comics, and are they
Right.
cool, and do they translate into the story, and is the point of the story coming across as such, like, are little girls still getting inspired by this and getting courageous and whatever? And that's really the point of the story. I'm not saying that certain people shouldn't be canceled, if things come out or whatever, but not everybody, and who
Right.
draws that line? That's why it gets weird, because some
Right.
people should, I guess, like what the, but some people cross the line, but some people
Yeah.
don't, and they get canceled for whatever reason or whatever.
Yeah.
um
Comes down
which
to
is
like, how are we going to remember this person?
right,
I think Bill
right.
Burr brought up a great example on SNL. He
Mhm.
brought up how people are trying to cancel John Wayne for being racist,
Right,
and
right.
John Wayne is this pillar in Western cinema, right? He's
Right.
like he's the Duke.
Mhm.
So people are like, but he's dead. Why would you go after some people who are dead? Well, I mean, do we want to remember these guys for what we saw them in films, or are we going to remember for who they actually were? So
Mhm.
you're right. It is very slippery. It is like, who has the answer? Definite,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, because I think there's certain people that all of us are like, hey, dude, like maybe let's not cancel, but we got to teach the truth of this. Like we can't ignore it,
Right.
like Hitler, okay? Like we all agree, scumbag. I mean,
Oh,
come
yeah,
on, right? I mean
absolutely.
that's just what it. And if you don't, and that's your opinion that he wasn't a scumbag, it's a wrong opinion. I can think that the sun is a cartoon. That can be my opinion, but I'm wrong, right? And so that's the
Right.
thing is people a lot of times they use like the word like that's or the phrase that's my opinion,
Freedom of
think-
speech.
thinking that
Yeah.
means fact, and it
Right.
that doesn't. It just oh okay cool you have an opinion that's wrong, but like that's cool, and I've had them too. I'm not saying like I'm immune to it. I'm just saying like an opinion is still that, it
Yeah.
doesn't
Well, some people, like even back then with this professor who was writing Wonder Woman, including all the bondage stuff, the guy was a hardcore feminist. Like went to town, he went to debate people, he went to say, look, no, look,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
I live with women,
Mhm.
I respect the hell out of women. I'm putting them in these situations that I'm familiar with, and hey, guess what? She wins by the end. So sure, she'll get tied up,
Mhm.
but she does win the day in the end.
Right.
And even, I mean, back then you had the comics code. So we know how kind of authoritarian they were, especially when it comes to these compromising poses. Wonder Woman's on the floor, tied up in chains and shit. And there's actually a really cool movie. I forgot the exact name of it, but it's about this story. It's about the creation of Wonder Woman. And Luke Evans, the guy from the Dracula film, the guy from the Fast and Furious movies, Luke Evans, he plays the professor. Doesn't
Oh,
look a thing like him because he's all muscular and handsome and everything. But that's Hollywood, and it's a really cool depiction of how these people were ostracized, how they
yeah,
were
right, right,
picked on, and
right.
but the relationship they had, which was truly loving. And that movie's name is Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. If
Ah,
anyone's who's interested in seeing that,
that's right.
how do you feel like that controversy back then, does it hold true still? What I mean, obviously the legacy of Wonder Woman has left that behind, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
how do you feel about all that?
I think they're two different things, right? Like I try at least in this instance, right? Like so what I'm saying is sure there's people that cross the line that hurt people.
Yeah,
There's a difference between like people that go out and they hurt people, and now we're talking like okay how do we want to remember them. Him having a relationship that maybe is a little weird to me and I don't really understand. I'm not going to jump to say it's right, I'm not going to jump to say it's wrong. This is not for me, at least in this particular incident with this particular guy and
yeah.
this particular legacy. um, for me it's just like a weird relationship that I probably shouldn't even know about, that two consensual adults agreed upon, and I shouldn't really even know. I only know because of the documentary and like history has come out, so I know that about him. But I didn't know that even until maybe high school. After high school, I had already read my Wonder Woman. I had already felt the way I felt about Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Um, and that feeling of like how I feel about Wonder Woman, the character and the stories and the movie, wow, yeah, that's what I translate into now my daughters, right? And now I show them characters like She-Ra, you know, Wonder Woman, these type of characters. Yeah, the Powerpuff Girls, like any, you know, and that's just them. I show them male characters too, because you know, obviously they love Spider-Man, Superman, Batman. They love all those characters. I'm just saying, like Wonder Woman. I'm not like, oh yeah, and hey guys, the guy that wrote this had this type of relationship too, and like that's a, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, maybe when they're older and it's like a cool tidbit to have.
When they watch this video in
When
history
they watch
class.
the video, right, right. But you know, when there's some context to that thought, you know. But right now, I feel like there's no context, and they don't need to know that. So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just, you know. So I it's just Wonder Woman. Is she cool? Do they like her? And the answer is yeah. So
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
absolutely. And
yeah.
speaking of context, there's a lot of context from the professor's personal life that was bridged over into these comics. Obviously, you had the female centric character, and she lived on an island only with women. There was the bondage stuff. There was the truth, because this guy was also the creator of the lie detector, which is crazy. You know, like he created two of the most, you know, something that's used and something that's entertaining, right? It's, to this very day, you
Mhm.
know. When did you know about that? Because I only found out a couple years ago.
Probably around high school when I started reading about the character, like the creator of
Mhm.
Wonder Woman. That's when I was like, oh man, the dude who made the lie detector too, you know. And that's when it started to that's when it started to click. Like, wait a minute. Like this dude had a, a bunch of wives, island with just women, right? Like just like a house with just women, basically like the outnumber the men, right? Um, uh, Steve Trevor, you know, being the
Yeah.
guy to being the guy, like he's the guy, you know, he's the guy, I guess.
Mhm.
And then and then you start looking at the ropes and the bracelets, you know, the
Yeah.
gauntlet and the type of outfit and stuff like that, and even the type of adventures and stuff like that. You see the influence. But that's what it is, right? It's influence. Like he's not showing me bondage. And maybe in a weird way he is, but
Mhm.
that's not what he's not trying to. That's not what he is. He's writing a story and then he's like, "Oh man, this would translate really well into this,
Into
you
this
know,
story, in this
into this story."
situation with these
Right.
stakes, right?
I mean, this may not be a good example, and I don't, maybe I shouldn't use it, but I was thinking maybe like wrestling, right? If
Mhm.
someone, you know, I don't know, that doesn't, has never seen wrestling, I guess, and has no context and watches it, would be like, wait, are these guys like, are they gay? Is this real fighting? Like, why? But what's the purpose though? Is there an outcome? Like, I don't get it. What's happening? It's just a show, right? That's cool. Okay, cool. But this is kind of weird, right? You know, like they would be, but that's not the purpose. Like the purpose is just to entertain, just so you to sit there and
Yeah.
that, like, that's the purpose, to be like, whoa, you know. Um, uh, so and does that message carry across, you know? Yeah, they're not trying to be sexual or whatever. It's just wrestling, and then, you know, that's what it is. If someone can, you know, I don't know,
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess I'm saying you can have your mind in your gut, in the gutter, about everything, you know, or most things. So
Mhm.
you can do that, and Wonder Woman is a easy target because of the lasso and all that.
Yeah.
And then, but then, like I said, that's where it's not just that, where the lie detector, you know, and the lasso of truth, you see that this guy is just drawing from his life. He's not specifically trying to instill bondage in the American culture. That's not what his goal
Right.
was.
Yeah.
His goal was actually like, hey, I want to empower, you know, I want a woman with power, a wondrous woman. How do I write that? This is how I do that. Oh, but where am I going to get ideas from? It's me. It's not anyone else. It's not you and me. Like I would draw from my experiences. I would draw from soccer and my family, you know,
Yeah.
martial arts,
Absolutely.
like things I like, you know, other comics, you know.
Mhm.
This dude just looked around and that's where he drew his ideas from, and he presented it to me like this, and I read it and I was like, wow. He wasn't like, oh yeah, and do you get it? Hey, hey, did you get it? Did you get it? Yeah, like no one, no, he wasn't doing that. He was like,
Is that
"Hey,
is that what you hear from like Ryan Johnson films?
did you get it? Yeah, did you get it? Yeah, no, oh my goodness, no, maybe not, maybe not. His films. Who's the guy? Darren Aronofsky
Oh,
sometimes.
Darren
Yeah.
Aronofsky, Mother.
Did you understand
Did
it?
you get it?
Did you get it? You didn't? Oh, okay.
Oh,
Oh, you don't understand. Watch more movies.
it's like, did you get it? No, of course not.
Of
Oh,
course, you fool. Good.
dumbass.
Yeah. No, actually good, right? Isn't that their goal, right? When you
Oh,
talk
right, yeah, good. Well, I got it.
Yeah.
Right.
They're like
Well, that's possibly what his Batman movie would have been like, because he
oh,
was going to do a Batman movie.
oh, oh.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
wonder how that would have turned out. Now I'm curious.
I'm curious. There's a concept art, so
Since
yeah,
everyone's
interesting.
doing a Batman movie, why not, right?
So I want to talk about the first appearance of Wonder Woman in comics, and of course, it was in All-Star Comics #8, the Justice Society. They had Wonder Woman show up in there, and Wonder Woman was, ironically, the secretary for the Justice Society, which is kind of hilarious nowadays because she got her movie before the Justice Society is, well, they're going to show up in Black Adam, but she was there first cinematically, television wise. She beat them at their own game, essentially. Um, and she's going to be showing up in an animated film with the Justice Society set in World War II, I believe.
Wow.
So that's going to be interesting to look at.
Yeah.
What do you think about this specific introduction with her as the secretary with this iconic team?
I think it's still iconic. It's still cracking the door, you know. For the time, that's a, you know, are we where we need to be? Probably not. But you know, people are gonna look at even this Wonder Woman movie. That's funny that we're talking about this All-Star comic. You know, it's
Yeah,
a Wonder Woman. She's cracking the door open, and once again here with the movie, here she is cracking the door open again for female characters. You know, and
yeah.
so, do I like it? No, I mean, in hindsight, we can look back and be like, idiots, you know, like what?
You didn't know. You
Yeah,
had
you
no
didn't see that.
idea.
Yeah. So obviously, but you know, at the time, that's what needed to happen first, right?
Right.
And we all wish it would have happened sooner, and she wasn't the secretary, and she would have just jumped right into it. But it's almost better that it happened this way, and I'll tell you why. It's because the uh have many male superheroes,
Yes.
and so because we have so many, I guess the market is kind of saturated, or demand is kind of saturated. So then when you have a good female character, she can stand out because there's not this like ocean of female characters, you know. Not that
Yeah,
there's not a
absolutely.
lot, but that stand out. If you really dive into a character and make one really good, or great, then it's easier for the female character to stand out and sell to basically half of the world's population. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
and I feel like her starting out in that kind of almost being brushed to the side. It's like, okay, this is your little creation. It's a woman.
yeah.
Okay, we needed a secretary. Thanks. Um, I feel like looking where she is now, it only adds to the real life empowerment of that character. You know, her becoming the most iconic and popular female superhero on the planet. Her starting off in a place that was almost, I mean, borderline disrespectful. I mean, they probably honestly at the time didn't even think the character would be more than just that. You know, kind of like what the secretary in Ghostbusters is. It's like, imagine we get her and then she gets her own series, her own films, her own books and all that. It's kind of, they're probably thinking of it that way, you
Mhm.
know. But here Wonder Woman is, years, decades later, nearly a century later, with films done and planned, right?
Mhm.
And it's pretty remarkable how far she went.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and is going, I feel.
exactly. Even
So,
if something like 84 came out, there's always that first film, and people really, I feel like, get emotionally attached to it, especially because it is pretty much the first successful female superhero film. You know, on that level. I mean, Jesus.
not Supergirl? for Angel. 90, what was that, 93, 94?
Where they show that cardboard picture of Superman. It's like, that's my cousin.
That's my cousin, and I remember that was a TV movie at first. I think I'm pretty sure
Oh.
they showed it on TV, and then it came out on like VHS or something.
Well,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
actually talking about Barbarella, so
And there we go. Barbed wire.
What's Electra for sure, dude.
Oof, that's a masterpiece.
Oof.
It's on my Mount Rushmore with Catwoman. That's
Whenever Angel wants to tell me that Daredevil was good, I say, okay, but it made Electra.
Daredevil was good, he says.
Okay, he's not here. I won't go any further. I just know I've gotten into arguments with him and Rob about the director's cut, bro. It's always these cuts. It's always these cuts, man.
Yeah, it's the cuts, and they do improve it, but it's just funny because it's like the one like fan service scene that the director wanted to put in the studio that doesn't fix an entire movie. Are you wowed at that one because you saw the director's cut and it's like 5 more minutes of really cool scenery? Like, yes, but that doesn't mean. I mean, what happened still happened.
Yeah, let's wait till Angel, because that was an unfair little jab, right?
Yeah, it's unfair, but yeah.
But it's true.
But it's Angel. Yeah.
No, Angel, thank you.
Watch more movies.
Watch out. He's gonna be lock me out of the account.
Exactly.
So what was your first exposure to this character of Wonder Woman?
With Superman, actually.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, like seeing her in the Justice League. Not with Superman, I guess with the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first time reading comics and seeing her cross over into these other comics, and then and knowing she existed. I mean, when I found out, Super Friends, all those, like when you're just a kid and you're reading about these comics, you're like, oh, okay. But I remember it being in the comics, seeing her, and then seeing the cartoons of the day, like on VHS, the old ones, and then even the old series. The live action series, I watched that. Who had that one? My uncle.
Linda Carter.
Yeah, with Linda Carter, I watched that one. And then and that was kind of my progression, my exposure to the character. I just kind of wanted to know what else was out there, from her, and that was up until these movies. That was really all. That's it. And then I take that back. Then there was the. That was a DC animated movie that wasn't that bad. It was.
Oh yeah.
It was pretty good.
I never actually saw that, but I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It carries you through. You know what I mean? Like, you're entertained through start to finish. It's not like Under the Red Hood or Dark Knight Returns Part 1, Part 2. It isn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like that, but it's pretty entertaining, I would say. All the way through. Yeah.
Yeah, mine was definitely. My first interaction with the character was definitely in the Justice League cartoon, Justice League Unlimited, where I feel like that's probably the most iconic version, and it's anime. Well, I mean, okay, Gal Gadot does exist nowadays, but up till that point was one of the most notable and memorable versions of the character, aside from comics. Perfect voice actress, perfect utilization. She was a stranger in that world, and she had a kind of a little romantic thing with Batman at times. She was perfect in that.
So I will say that particular Justice League, and Justice League Unlimited, but that particular Justice League, like, talk about perfect casting. Like, the voices were all on point. There was not a voice. That's how I imagine all of their voices. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, now I can't unhear that, right? Like, that cartoon really embodied at least the voice and the spirit of the characters. I thought they did a really good job. It's kind of like when Civil War, the book, came out, right?
Right.
And it's kind of like the characters are making decisions sometimes where you're like, would he really do that? And you're not really opposed to it, but you want to feel fluid through. You want to feel like that character. I mean, not that you don't want to get surprised, you know.
Yeah.
But you want to get surprised within the context of that character. Like, okay, I that's believable with the actions that have happened and the way this character is, based on his history, that he would make this decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's believable that way. And I felt like something like Civil War didn't really do that. But I feel like here Justice League is a good example in which they do embody not just the story and the animation, but the voices really got me for that.
Yeah.
That cartoon.
Those are, I think, still some of the best depictions of the characters if we're not talking about comics.
I
You
agree.
know, for like the Green Arrow, for example, on that show is like my Green Arrow, you know, the
Yeah.
wit, the charm, the voice was perfect. I feel like everything about that was phenomenal.
And that's saying something, because at least I would say at least the first 2 seasons, maybe four, definitely the first 2 seasons were really good for Arrow live action. The show,
Mhm.
I thought they were pretty good. Not until everyone started becoming a hero. Everyone and their mom and their cousins were like, everyone on the show was just a hero. Then I was like, okay, now I'm out. I'm checking out. I'm like, I'm done. They kept like trying to hide it, but everyone that would find out would just now become a trained, like, a superhero.
Well, once you say like, okay, who's that guy? That's Dinah Lance, my friend.
Yeah,
Everyone is gonna be like, oh, so that's gonna be Black Canary.
That's
Right,
how the show started to become. So then I
right.
was like, oh, okay, I'm out. This is not really that interesting anymore. But the first couple seasons, when it was what's his name, Anel,
Stephen Amell.
Stephen Amell. Yeah, I thought he was doing a good job. So I'm just saying, like, I still agree. I think in Justice League they do a better job of with Green Arrow overall. More consistently, and
Yeah, just
and
everyone on that show, man.
and the bar is set high, and you can see it by Arrow, the show. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to
Yeah.
reach that character. So I was kind of glad, because Arrow's a good character. Green Arrow's a good character, and he doesn't get a lot of shine, because there's like Batman around, Iron Man, Superman. Like, there's
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, exactly. Which, yeah, let's.
Yeah. Well, when Wonder Woman became a cultural icon, I feel like there's a very specific point in history where she became a household name. And I think it did happen in the 70s when that show with Linda Carter came out. This was a very specific point in history for feminism. It was rising. There were marches, there were parades, there were people speaking out, going on television, all these women saying, look, I'm not going to be disrespected. I'm not going to be expected of certain things, you know? And this was a character that was kind of an icon, kind of the flag character, if you will. I mean,
Mhm.
you had like the $6 million woman, you know, and characters like that. They were trying to push these stronger female characters, but
Yeah,
Wonder Woman, played by Linda Carter, is, I mean, just look at her right now.
yeah,
That's it.
that's it. Yeah, that's Wonder
Yeah.
Woman. She killed it. She killed the role so much so that I mean, like you said, you save it to another video, but so much so that she,
Oh,
spoiler alert, spoiler alert for Woman 84. But
Woman 84.
yeah, Wonder Woman 84. But she shows up in the end credit scene as their, like, most fierce warrior, even though they say that about everyone in the this is our most fierce warrior. You are our most fierce warrior. This.
Well, I believe it with this in this case. I believe it in this case with Linda
Oh, in this
Carter.
case, yeah, because it's Linda Carter. You're
Yeah.
like, yes, this is the most fierce warrior. But
It's like Starsky and Hutch, where they brought in the original actors at the.
oh, that I remember that. I remember that. That was funny. Yes, I am down. They did that with 21 Jump Street too.
Yeah, they did that in the A Team, where you see the guy who played Face, I think.
Oh man. Oh yes, that's right. That's right. I only saw that movie never. So no, just kidding. I'm just
Was
kidding.
too busy watching Powder.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Powder was the one. Did you end up seeing that? Did you?
No, that's still on
Okay.
the list. I've been
Good.
editing stuff. I've been working, man.
Good. But yeah, that's Linda Carter, and that was it. I told you I watched that. I watched that show when I was a kid, and on VHS. But it was a good show. It was a good show. I watched it. I liked it. and yeah, she kicks butt. So,
Kicks
you
butt.
know.
Has an iconic theme song to it, iconic look. She spins and she does the thing like and everything. Obviously, in any age, you're going to get the critics of certain movements. In the 70s, of course, that's going to happen with feminism being pushed in the way it was. Do you see any differences in the way that it's kind of being opposed nowadays? You know, obviously, there's a lot more than just feminism out there. You know, there's the LGBTQ community, there's Black Lives Matter, and you're obviously going to get the critics. And Hollywood, Marvel, DC, all these studios have been criticized for, you know, stuff like Captain Marvel or most recently Black Superman announcement, right?
Oh
Do,
man,
do
yes,
you do you
yes.
see any difference, or is it just history repeating itself?
I think the I think people don't like the feeling of something being imposed on them. I think most people are down with most things. I just feel like when they start feeling, and I don't know where that line is because the line is different for everybody. It could be a logo, and someone's like, "Why is someone pushing LGBT on me? Why am I seeing it everywhere?" And it could be like a little thing, you know what I mean? So for
Right.
some people, it's like, oh, a whole show. Like, wait, I don't want a whole show. Oh, but I can change the channel. All right. But
Yeah,
some people are like, you have a whole show? That's imposing on my life. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
so you know, for me at least, it's like it goes back to what the creator of the Wonder Woman thing. Like, I don't know that relationship something I'm cool with. I don't know. I've never been in something like that.
You're not gonna get up like out of your seat on the bus if like three people and a couple, obviously like a couple, you're just gonna be like, those people. You're not gonna be like that.
No, no, but that's what I'm saying. It's yeah, it's like all these things like that
Ooh, careful.
that you mentioned and people criticize or whatever. I don't know. I I think there's different lines. I think there's gray area with everything. So you kind of have to take each situation as such, because sometimes a lot of times what will happen is people ride the wave of a movement and kind of use the movement as an excuse for their agenda. And so then, so you have to be careful where it sucks that people do that. Good agendas and bad agendas, people do that, right? People attach themselves to like a name, a movement or something, and it's not that. Like, no, that's not what that is. They're saying that it's that, but that's not what that is, So,
Yeah.
um, so there's always going to be critics, but progress still has to happen. Change still has to happen.
Yeah.
Where I say see it a lot is in hip hop, right? Like, I was born in '85, so I had the whole '90s to grow up with hip hop and that whole era. So seeing what's out now for me, I'm not one of those old guys that's like, oh, well, stupid kids, because I know that when I was listening to the stuff that I was listening to, there was people that were like, oh, stupid kids, like that's not hip
Mhm.
hop, that's weird. At least they were speaking English. That's one thing that was weird. I remember when
Enunciating.
I remember when Lil Wayne came out, and me and my homies were like, dude, this is the beginning of the end. And they were
Oh,
like,
damn.
what do you mean? And I told them this. I said this. I was like, dude, this is the beginning. He's the first. And they're like, what are you talking about? He's good. And I was like, he has good songs. I listened to some of them, but he's the first. And they're like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, because he's the first and he's so successful, there's gonna be imitators, and now the branch that he started on hip hop is gonna take over the whole tree. And
It's
we're
true.
gonna eventually, and they didn't believe me. They thought I was crazy. They're like, of course, Daniel, extreme with your thought. But I was like, no, we're gonna get to the point where they're not speaking English. And not only are we not gonna be weirded out by it, we're gonna want it. We're gonna want songs where dudes are not even speaking English. I
Yeah,
guarantee
dude.
it's gonna happen.
And it's not even just in hip hop.
It's
There,
not
I
yet.
was shown this past weekend this black metal song where it was like oh my god, this dude on stage without a shirt on, all these dumbass tats on him, and he's like it's going hard, the beat's going hard, but he's like going like like he's doing that literally. The thing is why I wouldn't call you crazy about that Little Wayne suggestion is because he doesn't need to suck. he doesn't need to suck. He can actually be a bit talented, right?
Man, I've heard
It's
him. I've
it's
heard him
just the
freestyle.
thing is when you get someone who's good, right?
Mhm.
You're gonna get the ripoffs, and
Yes,
the
that's the
ripoffs
problem.
they tend not to be very good,
And
and
that was my point.
yeah. I mean, look at Chinatown. Right? You want
Mhm.
to buy an action figure, a quality one in Chinatown, you're going to get Spooderman rather than like Spider-Man. You're going to get Batman, this cheap ass Batman figure in the in the Avengers packaging.
Yeah,
That's what you're
yeah.
going to get.
Yeah, and that's what I saw. I wasn't saying that. Again, I like Lil Wayne, and yes, he is talented. I've seen him, freestyle, and how much freestyle or whatever. But I've seen him make songs where I'm like, dude, your lyrics are sick. But but uh, I knew that that was the beginning of, oh man, imitators are gonna come, and
Yep.
people are gonna like it because that's how people are. People are like, I just like it because I like it. Like, no, but it's not good, And like, you can like it, you can like it. And that's the other thing. I was gonna say, I'm not that old man that's like, hey, whatever, because I understand that if that's what's being consumed on the mass scale, then
Yeah.
that's what hip hop is right now. You know what I mean? Like right now, that's what it is. It's not. That's where it moved to. It moved to like where people like this. And do I understand it? No, I'm from a different era. So I listen to it, and I can only I'm not like these kids where they like all of them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I'm more like I wait for the bangers where I'm like, oh
Yeah.
man, this is undeniable. Like this makes me move.
Yeah.
I don't understand what they're saying, but the beat and the way he's saying it and the delivery, which is what a song should do, you know what I mean? Or however people want to interpret it, as long as they enjoy it. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, movements happen, and
Yeah.
they just come in waves, and it's just what it is. I mean, eventually, 10 years down the line, like my kids are gonna be listening to a way different version of hip hop,
Yeah.
like
They'll be
way
watching different
different.
types of comic book
Exact
movies. Yeah.
different type of different type of
Yeah.
everything. Comedy's different now. I mean, it's just we just don't know where it's gonna move, and so I kind of I'm like, am I okay with it? I don't know. I'm okay with it until it's not okay with it, until it affects me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's I guess that's
Well,
how I
that
look.
also that kind of rip-off thing does
Mhm,
happen in the positive section also,
mhm,
because I mean, you can call it inspiration or emulation. Like for example, if we're going to talk about hip hop and relate it to what's going on in like the comic book movies, right? You got Ghostface, right? And then you had that whole deal with him and Action Bronson, where Bronson was like, he sounds so much like him, and Ghostface, he's like on Instagram saying, "What the, like stop it!" Right? You
yeah,
get, but people love Bronson. People really
I like
enjoy him.
Bronson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's not like he's speaking English, right?
yeah, yeah.
He's of a certain quality,
Mm.
and then you get Wonder Woman, and now you're getting more female-led films. You get the Birds of Prey, you're getting the Harley Quinns, you're getting the Black Widow, which I'm still waiting to see that.
That's overdue, by the way.
Overdue. I mean, when that comes out, who knows if it will fit in the MCU, because they release their movies and shows at specific times, right? So who knows, will it be too late? Will it be too early?
I trust. Okay,
Yeah.
so I trust. Um, I've been weary about Marvel before with certain decisions, and they always kind of prove me wrong, but here's another situation where, yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of weary with the Black Widow. Like we all know it should have came out a long time ago. We all know that, and so
Mhm.
it's like, okay, we're gonna watch it because we've been waiting for it, but like, where is it gonna fit in? Are we just watching it because we owe it to the character, or does this fit into the story? Will I learn something new? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
And obviously they're gonna do Mad Report and all that stuff, right? There's like there or whatever that they're probably gonna reference that thing that Hawkeye went through, right?
Oh,
Hawkeye.
yeah, the
What was it?
Budapest.
Budapest.
Yeah.
Not Mad
Well, I
Report.
mean,
Or the other city.
they're gonna do that. There's also, they did confirm before Wonder Woman 84 came out that they were working on a third film, despite the critical reception of 84. They're still gonna do it.
And good. And
Yeah.
I want that because that completes the trilogy, and you know, we have trilogies like that where just complete at least the trilogy, complete the trilogy. Let me see the trilogy. Let me see the set, you know?
Yeah.
And the first one was good enough to warrant a trilogy, to warrant 3 tries. I feel like I agree. And the character warrants it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think they can learn from their mistake from Wonder Woman 84. Um, because what happened? What happened there?
Well, they
What
definitely would want to go to the roots of the first film, which we should probably start talking about.
let's go. Yeah.
The Wonder Woman, obviously, the premise of the film is about Wonder Woman Diana Prince on Themyscira. She meets Steve Trevor, who lands on this island filled with warrior women. It is set during World War One, and Diana is just learning about this because they're so secluded, and she feels the pain and misery within the world during that dark time. And she decides, I'm going to find the man responsible for this. And it's not, the assassin of the archbishop or archduke of was it Germany?
Ferdinand.
Archduke Ferdinand.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it's not the assassin of him. It's of course Ares, the god of war, because he is obviously feeding off all this terrible, destruction and lives
Right,
lost.
right, right.
So already you have a character who's completely convinced and convicted of this black and white moral standpoint that she has. He's like, no,
Yeah.
I kill him, and then it becomes better.
Yeah.
um, you hear this, Daniel, this premise.
Mhm.
What did you think? Were you excited about it?
Yeah, yeah, I was excited, and I was excited because it made sense. I knew right off the bat that they're going with um just the right amount of training for her. You know, because
Right.
she makes certain decisions where I'm like, wouldn't she just be as a warrior? Wouldn't you say that is bred for war? Wouldn't you be trained to not trust people, like to know that your enemy is basically how you win a fight is deception, deceptive hands, like you throw some feints, and you hit them with a cross, you set
Yeah.
a jab, and then you go to the body, it's all
Outthink
it's
the
deception.
opponent.
Jiu-jitsu same way, right? You go for
Yeah.
the arm bar, and then someone defends that, and then you can go for the triangle, right? You go for something else because they're defending something else, right? So it was but it made sense because she's just like a young adult, like she's coming off into the world. And did she get that training? I mean, we'll get into it, but her trainer,
Her mother.
dies, basically. So,
Oh no,
um,
her mother is the queen. I'm sorry.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, but the trainer, Antiope, right? Antiope and Antiope
Yeah,
or
I believe so. Yeah.
yeah, she's the one that ends up dying, and she so did she get that like the Batman training? You know what I mean? Like where you're training, like okay, now that you know how to fight like crazy, now let's move into like people are gonna try to stab you in the back, and how we can like prevent this and be more
Yeah.
stealthy and stuff. I feel like it's just right. She just became that warrior. She just beat her trainer. You know what I mean? And so for her to come out into the world and kind of be like, I'm just fighting, and if I beat my opponent, the game is over, because that's what she's been taught. That's what she's been
Yeah.
trained to do, is kind of just win the game and win the drill, and then on to the next one, and then on to the next one until there is no more. Even if you see the training sessions when she starts when they finally agree to train her, uh the way the training works, there's like one Amazon, and even when she's a kid, she's the kind of like trainer that stands before the Antiope, right? And so no Amazon can kind of knock her over. um Wonder Woman, she ends up doing it, so the only person left is is her trainer, because she knocked off like that the big bad, right?
Hmm.
And so everyone's kind of looking like, that means you have to fight her. And so then, without saying a word, the trainer just walks over like, okay, I have to do this now. You're old, you did it, you're old enough now, you're good enough. And in that scene when she like defeats her, that's the purpose. That's what we've been, I mean, even when the mother agreed, she said, you bet her, I will only agree to this if you agree that you will train her to the point where she gets better than you. And right before death, in that scene with Steve Trevor, which is an amazing scene, that battle scene is crazy. She dies like an honorable death or whatever,
Hmm.
so it's literally perfect timing. And I think that makes sense with the type of development in her character, where she's like, yeah, I win, and this is over, right? Like, yay, you know, and no, and Steve Trevor, like later in the movie, shaking her, like, what if it's not? What if people are just making these decisions? Like, don't you understand? And we'll get
Yeah.
into it, you know, but
Yeah.
I think it makes sense with the character that is what I'm saying, you know.
Well, it's definitely about a character who is, though she's physically competent, she is definitely naive about
Yes,
how the
yes,
world works during times of war, how dark
right,
it can get, how
right.
how creative
Yep,
sides can get, because she's
yep.
also fighting. Um, I mean, there was mustard gas, which is types of weaponry, and I mean bullets and all that stuff that she's
Arrows.
not trained for. You know, she's
Mhm,
not trained for that. She's trained for like more of Greek Spartan-esque combat,
mhm,
which
mhm.
could be very useful. And you get an incredible scene where she go leaves the trenches and goes straight on the battlefield, and she does the things with her bracelets, and I'm like,
And she's like,
yeah, with she does a cap, she does a cap, like that
that was
is
cool.
sick. It's a
Goosebumps.
cool melding of both times, because you have like the Greek era and you have World War I, like just juxtaposed to each other.
I agree.
um but I love that it is about someone who does kind of get slapped in the face in terms of what real life is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what it can cost. She's under this delusion that if she finds Ares, kills him, literally everything will be better, and it's tragically not.
But that's what I'm. It had to be that, right? So
Hmm.
I hope no one's. I haven't seen any complaints about that, but that makes sense with the character. Even when she's walking on the bridge, about to get on the boat, and then they go or whatever after a fight or two, or to fight, they're trying to get to the front, and she sees all these people coming out of the village, and she sees like people dying and stuff like that. She's like, "Oh my God,
Yeah,
it's horrible." He's like,
insane.
"Yes, that's what I've been saying. Haven't you been listening to me? Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? Like, what do you think horrible meant? You know what I mean? Like, he said the end of the world. Like, when he's explaining it to the Amazons, he's
Yeah.
saying it's like the world is going to end. Like, what did you think that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a sparring session here, lady. And so, I don't know. She sees that, and then it gets even worse. It gets even worse, which again, in the story, the progression of the story makes sense. Now they get to the front, and then there's more death, and and she's wondering why she can't just stop and just help each person that has an issue that they're walking by.
Yeah.
She's naive like that. Like, why can't I just stop? Just give me 5 seconds. No, because if we do this bigger thing, like, it will stop all of this. Aren't you getting, like,
Yeah.
and you have to explain it, but it makes sense that she doesn't get that, right? Like, wait, but why? It takes 2 seconds. Like, yes, yes, but then if you do 2 seconds here, 2 minutes there, five
Hmm.
minutes here, we're never gonna get to where we need to go, and this war will never end. So, like, we get it, but your skills are more useful over here. Like, our plan, we got to stick to the mission. You know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
makes sense what Steve Trevor is saying, and not really allowing her, because he's kind of not jaded by reality, but he's experienced reality in certain situations. So
Yeah.
her
He's
ideals are in the right place. But yeah, that she is naive to kind of the realities of the world war and how it's working. It makes sense to the story, and I'm glad they did it. I didn't want her to come and what are they called? MacGuffins, like, or not MacGuffins?
Oh,
What are they
Mary
called?
Sue.
Mary Sue. There we go. Mary Sue. Yeah. They don't want her to just be a Mary Sue,
Oh
and it's
no, man.
crazy how they didn't. Even though, yeah, I mean, it's easy how they didn't. They did the fish out of water thing,
Yeah,
right?
which was
Because
actually very charming. Actually, it was a nice break in between all the, like, we're talking about the seriousness of World War I, the death, the destruction, the horror, and everything. But you also do get those moments of like her in that outfit. Walking around London just all normal, like it's like she has been wearing it all her life,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
but
he's like, Cover up, what's wrong
right.
with you?"
She doesn't get it.
She
Yeah.
just doesn't get it. One thing I love about Trevor's character is how the thing that sold me about the way that the film, the details of the film, was how he refers to it as the Great War, the war to end all wars. It adds a whole other like just weight to the stakes of the film, because we as the audience know that's not the war to end all wars. You
Right.
know, I mean, it's insane just how much a single line can hold so much weight to it. You know what I mean? And they just, you're right, they just don't get it because they've been living it up on this paradise island. Not like they literally said, F everyone else, F all of them. I don't give a shit about any of them. We're doing our thing over here,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, and it's crazy, and I'm glad. I mean, it's funny because they raised her on these ideals and these stories to kind of give her this grandiose idea of why she's training, thinking that she would never want to leave, because of this magical place. But in telling her these stories, that's what made her want to leave. Like,
Yeah.
no, no, like, and she's just, and then her mom tells her, like, no, these stories are just stories to like tell kids to make them feel like hurrah life. But she's like, what? Like, no, I don't care. Like the story still happened, and I still interpreted it this way, and it still makes me feel like I gotta go do something. Like, what are you talking? You're crazy. And so I don't know. And that's Wonder Woman, right? That's Wonder Woman, and it carries through the whole film. You see her personality and her character be herself. It's not inconsistent. So it's very consistent with the growth of her character and her experiences in the show. I feel it's very consistent, and you see it, and I think they mesh it very well. And like you said, a charming break. Marvel does do this very well, and maybe it's a little cliche at this point. Well, obviously because it's a saga, but the way they do their jokes, right?
Yeah, right.
They mesh it in very well into very fluid, right? Seamlessly. There you go. That's
Yeah.
the word.
Well,
And so
most
I
of the time
felt,
oh, sorry.
uh-huh.
No, sorry.
No, I felt that it was a charming break seeing her, kind of have to realize parts of the world. But isn't that cool how that makes sense, right? At
Mhm.
first, she's learning first how to dress, how to talk to people, then she's learning about, like, okay, pain, now sorrow, now death and war. Like, she throughout the movie, you're getting carried and you're learning with her, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it's really, I love that structure to it. You know how
yeah,
it's like a
absolutely.
lesson at each different
Check.
place.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
checkpoints,
Yes.
different reasons as to why you're going to learn why the world was not what you were told,
I
you know?
agree. Even till the end, right? Even till
Yeah.
when he kills Ludendorff, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, wait, what? And again, like I said, Steve Trevor's shaking her, being like, what didn't you get? Like, I don't-
Well, it's funny because I like this film more so than her introduction in this world, which was Batman versus Superman. However, you do get by the end why she would turn into that more stern and stoic character that she was in Batman versus Superman. You know, the loss of Steve Trevor, all the time that's passed. You understand why at that point she would be in terms of her personality, a more darker character. I've killed things from other worlds before, right? Like that type of person.
yeah, it makes sense, right? She's a war veteran. I mean, if you think about it,
No.
so she's seen that. She knows what that looks like. So it only makes sense that, yeah, that I guess that even progressed even with the introduction in Batman versus Superman, like you said. Um, but yeah, for me, I didn't, not that I didn't like her in that movie. Actually, in that movie, she's probably my favorite thing in that film,
Yeah.
especially when she's fighting Doomsday. And yes, we talked about it, and it sucks that in that movie, the only thing that I appreciate about her really is, or the thing that I appreciate about her the most, is that she's inserted for the physical fight with Doomsday,
Yeah.
to kind of hold Doomsday, to make it make sense, to hold Doomsday, while anytime that Superman is down, it doesn't make sense that Batman now has to square up with Doomsday. So it's like, if Superman's down, you need somebody else that can kind of hold her own. And she does very well in that movie, as we talk about. My favorite scene that gave me goosebumps was when she gets knocked and thrown, like she's fighting crazy. And her fight scene with Doomsday is so dope. And she's fighting crazy, and you're kind of like, bobbing and weaving, slipping, and then she gets cracked and gets launched and
Knocked
starts
over.
rolling, boom, 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 and you're like, oh, and then she rolls over, and then you see her roll over, and she goes, she like chuckles to herself,
Yeah.
picks up her sword and her shield, and then rushes back at Doomsday. Like that. That gave me goosebumps. That's just crazy for, for a character to do, to get knocked and to be like, like that's what I came here to do. Like, I came here to do this, and you're giving me, and I'm happy that you're making this fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Like, that's what I got from that chuckle. Like, she's looking at Doomsday and Superman and Batman. The men are like frantic and one dies, you know, and so I get it, you know. So I get it. I'm not talking trash, you know. I don't know how I would fare against Doomsday. But the fact that she's in the midst of all this, she's having a good time. She's like, this is why I exist, to like, you know, to fight. Very Captain America, you know, ish, you know, like, even though he won't laugh and stuff like that, but and by the end of the saga, we understand that that's not true. But you know, at a certain point, he's having battles with himself because he thinks he only exists for war, you know. And I kind of got that feeling when she's fighting Doomsday. So again, highlight of that film, and you know, I don't really like the film, but that was a
That fight
highlight.
scene was dope though. I mean, it definitely reminded me of like what Thor would be in, you know, what we saw in some of the Thor films,
I
and
agree.
I
Yes.
think it was Endgame where he was kind of chuckling and making some jokes. It was like, no,
Yeah.
give me the bigger one, you know, like that
Yeah.
type of stuff.
That's fun. That's fun, man. Like when you see the character like be like, you know, kind of like Rorschach when they're like, oh, they locked you in here with us. Like, no, like it's not me locked in here with you. It's you locked in here with me. That's when it's like, oh my, they want this. They like this.
They want, well,
This is a party for them.
it's kind of
Oh,
similar to like there are videos online of like soldiers in combat. Well, I think I saw this one specifically where this sniper, she like a bullet like hit right past her face, and she just like chuckled. She was like laughing, like she like she wanted it, you know, almost, you know, like there's that adrenaline to that situation. You know, it's definitely
yeah.
not as dramatic as we picture it in films, right?
And it might be this too. This is just something to keep in mind. I heard that, like, you know, the guys that come in, the coroners, and the
Right.
guys that come and clean up like death scenes and, you know, car crashes and stuff like that, they're very jokey. And if you heard like the thing, I heard, this could be true or not, you can correct me in the comments, you know, if you know people like this, but I heard people that work with death a lot, if you were to hear them while they work, you would be offended probably, but they have to make jokes because they see this every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't see this every day. I'm sure people had experiences, you know, with death and stuff like that. Obviously, you know, everyone has experienced loss or has had close calls, right? Everybody has their own stories. But these people get paid daily to clean up brains and bodies and stuff like that. And so they kind of like to be lighthearted, are very jokey, and will try to be lighthearted about it. And with us, it would probably seem like, why are you joking like
That's
that?
bizarre. That's
but,
just,
but
yeah.
it's bizarre, but I understand it. You know what I'm saying? Well, or actually,
Yeah.
I don't. I understand that I don't understand. I understand that I'm not in that situation today, like smelling death, literally handling death every day. So I don't know how you would cope with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
Well, it reminds me a lot of like when you watch Breaking Bad, when you would watch Breaking Bad and Hank's going to these like shootouts with all these like drug lords and all these people, and he's like taking pictures. It's like, what's up, you know, doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's depicted as like desensitization, but it's a coping mechanism in some way.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like in that situation where he's like, "Hey, take a picture of me," I feel like that's something else. But you know.
Yeah, right. There's levels to this.
Exactly, man.
Right.
Well, when Wonder Woman came out, it was a big success critically, financially. It was considered at the time the best that the DCEU had to offer, you know, and at that point we had Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and the Suicide Squad, right? So, do you think this is still the case? Other movies have come out at this point. Do you think Wonder Woman is still the best that this world has to offer?
So it's funny that you say, you took the words out of my mouth. I was like waiting for the next thing to and I want to say that this was and still is the best DCEU movie of not of all time, but I mean of this new universe, definitely the best DC movie, hands down. I think clearly. I mean, I will say that clearly.
We might go at it, bruh.
I will say, okay, look, it's this movie Man of Steel, I would say.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, Man of Steel.
Oh, okay.
And then I would say, man, then I would say, dang, that's see, I guess those are the ones that matter, right? So then that's where
The rest are like, just
they came out. Oh, Shazam, Shazam.
see.
No,
That's the
no,
one
no,
I
no.
would go with. I
Yeah,
might go with Shazam as the
probably
best.
Shazam, and then Aquaman. That's what I would,
Okay.
or maybe yeah, or maybe switch those two around. But those are my top four for sure.
Okay.
And then yeah, then
The rest,
the rest, yeah, the rest.
Um, it's between Shazam and Wonder Woman for me, but I might go with Shazam
Mhm.
because I feel like Shazam just it captured that character so well. Not saying that this doesn't. I'm not saying that Wonder Woman does not. I think that it's really good with the character as well. It's just Shazam. I felt like it was I felt like it was just as good, and it did things that I had no idea. I was not expecting them to do, especially at the very end. Like I was like, "Wait, you did this? Oh, and it doesn't suck? Oh, and it completely fits within the themes and the narrative, the story. What?" Like and Wonder Woman does that as well, but I just feel like Shazam maybe it's a preference thing because I feel like they're good, just as good as each other. I feel like Shazam probably has a better third act because Wonder Woman does kind of fall into that Batman versus Superman type ending. When it comes to final bosses, I do hope for something that isn't just a big let's blow shit up type thing. I want something that's different from the main character in terms of conflict. Something they have to figure out. How am I going to beat this thing? Right? Spider-Man and Doc Ock, perfect example. Batman and Joker, another perfect example. Right? Captain America and Thanos, like unthinkable.
Yeah,
Right?
unthinkable.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so you know how I feel about Shazam. Shazam's like my favorite DC character.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
So I'm surprised that Wonder Woman, like that shows you there's no bias in there.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Shazam is definitely my favorite DC character. But I can't lie. I like not to say that Shazam wasn't good, right? And then as a Shazam fan, like if you're a Shazam fan and you saw that movie, you had a good time. You had
It's
a
true.
really good time because you're watching. I mean, it's from the panels. Like it's cool. It's they took a lot of good stuff that the fans would like, and like you said, it's almost surprising that it worked. You're like, wait, you did this, and then it worked. It works, And I had a good time watching that movie, but that's the difference, right? Like I had a good time watching, a great time watching that movie. I was sitting there and I was like, man, as a fan, this is great. With Wonder Woman, I was wowed. I was
Mm.
wow. That's the difference. That's kind of like what sets it apart for me because yeah, Shazam's up there. I really liked Aquaman. Some of the visuals there are kind of stunning, mind blowing. I would even say some of the visuals for Aquaman, and the way they did Aquaman and wow, perfect casting, obviously. But yeah, Wonder Woman it just for me I got there that no man's land scene and just some of the
Yeah,
lines that
that's
she
dope. That's
delivers,
unbelievable.
and I
Yeah.
think not that I'm glad that Shazam did this. So don't take this as I'm saying this is bad.
Mhm.
But for me, Shazam was more Saturday morning cartoon. Um uh and I like that. That's what I wanted for the character. So I'm not saying
Yeah.
that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's more like a Saturday morning cartoon I can sit with my family and watch it. Versus Wonder Woman, not that it's not that, right? Not that it's not that. It definitely, in the third act too with that the villain and obviously kind of we saw it a mile away. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that kind of thing. It's also Saturday morning cartoon, but we just finished talking about like the real like World War, the death stuff and the stakes being so high for me that and I'm a world I like World War II, World War
I'm
One.
a fan.
Yeah, I'm a fan. No, it's not I'm a fan, but I'm a fan of the history of it, right? And
Right.
that and again, like you're saying, personal preference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes,
Completely.
personal preference with the World War, but then I'm a Shazam fan, and I kind of wanted that exact movie. It's kind of
Mhm.
very Deadpool-esque, where they really hit the mark with Shazam, I think.
Mhm.
But Wonder Woman, just some of these scenes were just like
Yeah.
sitting
It's
there
true.
just like, whoa.
The point where she steps up on those
Oh,
steps, goes on that battle, that is, I don't think that's ever gonna leave my mind. I kind of want to rewatch the movie now just for that scene, you know? Like, so I completely
dude,
agree in that it's
dude.
that good, right? I completely agree. I love that moment. So I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch it. And you know, I'll rewatch Shazam as well because
Yeah, same.
I want to see which one is great. And to be fair, they're both very different films, you know?
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like you wanted it, that's it's not really a knock on it. You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
just kind of, I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
One was just different, and it's kind of like which one hit you harder, I guess,
Yeah.
in the delivery.
It's true.
As a fan, Shazam, I would say. As a fan, some of the stuff I was seeing, man, I've been waiting to see that in live action since I was out like 7. You know what I mean? Um, um,
Shazam!
but yeah, but I can't lie with the level of awe that I was in watching Wonder Woman, and even like you're saying, the No Man's Land scene. It's No Man's Land. It only makes sense that they made this scene. Like, what a 100% hitting, 110% hitting on the mark. Like, not only the line delivery, not only that it's Wonder Woman, not only that it's No Man's Land, not only that it's World War. It makes sense. It hits so many boxes that it raises the hairs on the line delivery when they're like, no, this is No Man's Land. You don't understand. It's like, it's not what we came here to do. And she says, yeah, like, that's not what you came here to do.
Mhm.
But like, that's
What
not
I
what I'm
came here
gonna
to
do.
do.
Like, that's what I came here to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And she starts stepping up, and then all these dudes, of course, like all these dudes, like a dude fest, they're all just staring
Dude
like,
fest.
yeah, I mean, they're standing there like, not even comprehending. It's almost like asking a fish, like, do you know what it's like to be wet? Like, they don't understand what she's doing. They don't even understand what she's doing. And what she's doing is the right thing. Like, that's what she's
Yeah.
doing. She's doing the right thing. And so, obviously she's Wonder Woman and these dudes are human,
Guys,
So,
yeah.
so I'm not, knocking them for it, but they're there fighting, right? That's the right thing. So I'm not knocking
Yeah,
them.
no, yeah, absolutely.
Even
But
better.
this is
They're
like you're dropping a superhero in
a
this.
superhero in
Wonder
it.
Woman,
Yeah,
Captain America, right?
yeah,
Superman, like that type in there. And it's inspiring. Like that moment specifically is
was
an
fun.
inspiring moment that
Yes.
actually does lead to the next question, which is
Okay.
why at the time do you think, and still like because Wonder Woman's the one for you, why do
Right.
you think it works so well where other DCEU films may not?
Okay. Uh, and I'll tell you why. We talked about it already, and I think because they built it on like the rafters, the rebar of the movie, the was structured so well that even if there was some flaws, you you love the progression of the character. You just do. You grow with the character, and that's hard to, like, even in the third act where people may have some issues or whatever.
Right.
By the third act, that's 15 minutes of the movie that you're really gonna, you know what I mean? And it's just a superhero fight, like, which we knew, like, it's a superhero movie, so there's gonna
Yeah.
be like, it wasn't The Godfather, you know what I mean? Like, okay, but we knew this going in. So I feel like the fact that the rafters, and like I said, like the structure of this film, um her checkpoints, like we mentioned earlier, and
Yeah.
seeing her grow made sense, enough for us to grow. And like, even if we saw some flaws, like I said, in the third act, like the movie holds true, and it built for those goosebump inducing scenes. So even if it kind of falters in the end, which I kind of don't even really think so, but if we're really going to be nitpicky, then the third act is where we're gonna find those problems, and not even necessarily, we, again, like we saw a mile away, that the villain was
That
the villain.
Ares was that guy
Yeah,
rather than Danny Houston's
yeah,
character.
yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, that was kind of like, okay, but it's a superhero movie. It's Saturday morning cartoons. Like, we just want to see it in live action, and I feel
Yeah.
like this is what we got. So I think other movies, they fail because they I felt insulted, kind of like not insulted, like how dare you, but I felt like oh, this is not for me. This is for a child. I get this. I get this, and like I get it. Like Wonder Woman is a superhero, so already it's like for a certain market, you know. But what I'm saying is like, man, they really made this only for kids. So like what I'll say is the Birds of Prey movie, right?
Sure, yeah.
It's very similar to other DC movies that don't work. Suicide Squad is in this. A lot of other a lot of other Batman and Superman. You know, there's other movies where they fall prey to convenient writing, and so like what I mean by that is like, oh man, like you're a detective in the or in Birds of Prey. Harley Quinn is having this whole intro and it's very personal and it's whatever, and she's having this thing and it's this big thing. She ends up blowing up this whole plant, this whole thing, right?
Hmm.
And it just so happens that like right down the block, convenient writing again, like the detective and like some other character that she's gonna know are looking at a death or something that happened right there. I don't even remember what it was, but it was just like some death that was right there. Like, oh hey, oh you're here, oh I'm Harley Quinn, and hey I'm in the scene. And then they're like, oh yeah, and then this other thing is happening right around the block, and oh there's another character that we met. Oh nice, and like I don't know, it just and then everyone was trying so hard to be cool. In Wonder Woman, again, like I said, the foundation of the story breeds these moments where she can step up to the plate. These other movies didn't breed those moments, so you're left trying to make them cool. Like in Birds of Prey, you'll get Huntress saying a line where it's like, okay, I get it. They were trying to make me think that was cool, and it really was just corny. It was
Hmm.
very, very corny. And so that's where I guess you're asking me the differences. And the difference is here. The difference is Wonder Woman wasn't as corny as those other films. There we
Which is
go.
crazy to think because it is Wonder Woman, a character who looks like that in that
Like that.
costume and everything, does
Yeah.
the this thing with the bracelets and everything. I think that the reason why this worked so well and got people so excited and happy and everything about the DC films was because it expressed hope in a way that was needed in that world. You
Mhm.
know, you had Man of Steel, which was hope was a theme of that, but it was kind of a more dreary take on it. You know, it was a more
It
quote
was a
unquote
gloomy.
realistic
Yeah.
version of it.
Yeah.
Uh, where here we're just like, well, look, this is a beacon of hope during a very dark time. There's someone who fought for the goodness of humanity, you know, and people like seeing that. And I think it's as simple as that. This reminded I was reminded a little bit of Christopher Reeves' Superman, you know, in the way that she would present her superhero ness, the scenes, you know, the ways they were built up and everything, the lessons that were taught. And I think that's remarkable that a movie with hope in it can end still on a tragic note. You know what I mean? I still think so. I feel like that's what it comes down to, really.
Yeah. And yeah, and these superheroes, they just work. I think they executed, people talk trash about the DCEU and, not trash, but the bar has been set by Marvel. So it's so high,
But
um,
also so low by themselves.
yeah, by them exactly. And so then, but because right now when we're mentioning our list, like I guess that's half of the franchise, but think about it. That Wonder Woman, I like that. Man of
Mhm.
Steel, pretty good. It's not my favorite film, but I definitely like the Superman fights with Zod are amazing. Um, Jor-El is that the whole scene on Krypton is crazy. Shazam, I like. I had fun with Aquaman. I thought Aquaman was pretty good.
Mhm.
I don't know how you felt. Aquaman's your guy, right? How do you like
I
that?
he's my boy.
Yeah,
Well,
he's definitely
Aquaman, I liked it. I thought it was cool. You know,
okay.
at the least, I don't think it was the best. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I don't think it's one of the better, but I had a fun time with it at
Same,
least.
same. That's what I'm saying. It carried me through. Like I was entertained enough, and I was like, finally, Aquaman has a movie, and it's not total crap. So I was like, okay, good. Like
Yeah, a
this is
little
fun.
cheesy at
A
points,
little
but I
bit,
mean,
a little
it's
bit.
Aquaman. You know.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like kind
Right.
of like do you want to take it away from some of the, these knocks, like these nitpicks? Like, do you even want to take them away sometimes? Like, do you want to even really correct them? Sometimes they fit the character. And again, with Wonder Woman, I think they hit it on the mark. With this movie, I think it works. And it's, again, they added a realism, but they executed it well. They executed it well with the context of the character.
Yeah.
Like you said, you made a great point about the Wonder Woman being like the Christopher Reeves Superman. You know where I see that? Chris Evans, Captain America. It's just
absolutely
cool. It's cool where you see a character where we strive to be, because they automatically say the most right thing. Like, and they say it so matter of factly. Like, why are we even talking about this? Like, their character doesn't even understand. Like, wait, why are you even asking that question? Like, Christopher Reeves always answered, like, well, obviously the right answer, the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh yeah, like that is, and you hope in those situations that you would be Superman, that you would be Wonder Woman, that you would be Captain America, because they're always like making the rightest decision, like the most noble,
the best decision that they can.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
because you also get something like Civil War, where the best decision is very muddy, right? Like, what is the right decision in that type of situation? I feel like Wonder Woman works because though it deals with very heavy, real parts of our history, it doesn't forget that the film is still escapism. And I think that Man of Steel kind of does that. Batman versus Superman definitely does that. And I felt like this, it want to, and I hope the Snyder Cut doesn't. I hope, I'm hoping, like that's going to be a tough balancing act, because I feel like it's not me just saying, oh, that's dark, I don't want to deal with the real world, right? I want a character to respond to the real world.
Not react to it, not react to it, really. And you want to respond, to be the answer. I mean, he's the hero.
Be the answer, right? Yeah, the answer. That's what Superman is. He is the answer. Yeah. That's a perfect way to describe him. Wonder Woman is the answer. Batman is a questionable answer. Questionable, right? I mean, dope, cool, awesome, lit, but questionable at the same time. Captain America is the answer.
I appreciate you, Wayne, for your duties and everything that you put yourself through. I respect the bat.
I love Batman. Come on, Dark Knight trilogy. He's the answer in that situation.
He
Complete. Is. Batman versus Superman. I don't know about all that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's kind of,
don't walk your dog in Gotham.
There's gonna be like a serial killer documentary on Batman in that universe later.
That would actually be brilliant. That would be freaking brilliant if they did that.
It would be funny. I'd watch it more. I'd probably like it more than the freaking movie. Like, there was this bat, and no one knows if he's real or not.
Hey, at least they would show that they have like a bit of a sense of humor, right?
Yeah, right. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to trash that whole universe. If we can see maybe one or two films that gets them back on track, I think they got something with Wonder Woman, with Man of Steel. Why aren't we getting Man of Steel 2? But okay, but we have Aquaman, Shazam, and we do have Batman and Superman. It was what it was. We have Justice League. It was what it was, but we have them, right? They exist. They already are out there. We can make a Justice League 2, essentially, is what I'm saying. But I heard that Nolan told Snyder to not watch what they released as a homie. Was like him and his wife, Nolan and his wife, being a GOAT again, being even a GOAT homie, because he's a GOAT filmmaker. Now he's a GOAT homie. But it came out that I guess he told Zack Snyder, like, dude, like, the movie you're working on? Yeah, they released it. And for the love of God, do not go see it. Like, as a big true homie, and be like, what? Like, would you go see it? So would you go see it in that? Like, if you made a movie and then you leave because of, like, your family, your mom, somebody, whatever. Yeah. And then I come in and I make it. And then Angel's like, dude, that project, your passion project that Daniel did it. Don't go see it, yeah? Like,
would I watch it? Would I watch the Daniel cut?
The Daniel cut, yeah. Would you watch it?
I don't know, honestly.
Because they'd probably get me.
I think it would be kind of like how we watch YouTube videos that we know will get us upset.
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah.
it'd be like that. Like it's just me. Like I might as well be like jerking off while doing it because I
Right,
get so
right.
fucking
At that
upset.
point, at that
You know,
point. Yeah.
like in the theater, just like,
Yeah.
like no, dude. I really don't know
Mhm.
whether I would watch it really or not. I feel like I would honestly let that whole thing go, but I do get why Snyder is not. He has to release it. You know, he has to. He has to. He left because of a really tragic, terrible moment in his life, and I feel terrible about that. Obviously, I mean, forget the movies, forget what he does in his career and everything. That is awful, right? That is terrible. And yeah, take time, leave. I, I've always said that studio is to blame for what happened.
I,
And for people to be like, yeah, Warner Brothers, you're releasing the Snyder Cut. It's like, look, remember what happened. It comes back to what we were saying about how are we going to remember these people, right? How are we going to remember what they did, who they were? Sure, they gave you something, but there was a good amount of time where they gave you something else that is now hated, infamous. Joss Whedon, bring them up in conversation. It's not gonna be Avengers that's brought up. It's gonna be that.
mhm.
They're calling it the Justice League.
Yeah, the Justice League. Yeah, yeah. No, and it stinks. It stinks. I heard also very nobly that Snyder's coming back and making it for no pay. He's like
Yeah,
taking salary from it, which is crazy. It means that like whether I like the film or not, whether I like the film or not, it just means like that's respectable. It
it
has his
is.
name on it, and he knows Joss Whedon did it, but he's like, dude, I'm gonna do the best with the money I'm given and the time I'm given, and I'm gonna do it for free because it has my freaking name on it. And people are lumping me in with this project. They're saying I did this and I didn't. Here's my cut. And
Yeah,
so is it gonna be his exact cut? Maybe, maybe not, right? They're gonna have some films that a lot of the scenes that he wanted, obviously, and then they're gonna add
and new
what
stuff.
5 hours of it. So he has the
Fi-
time. He has
yeah,
the time. But the fact that he's doing it for free because he's like, it's like it's almost like if an MMA fighter was to get a rematch against a guy that beat him, and you never want to fight for free. That's just you don't want to
yeah,
do that. But it would be similar to be like if the dude's like, no, that dude's champion. They're not giving me the fight if they're gonna pay me. They're only gonna pay for my fight trainers, my camp, my airplay, everything else. But I can't take salary off it. I don't care. I need to get that rematch. I need to fix it. And so this is his rematch. And so I'm hoping he comes with a knockout.
me too, me too.
I'm gonna watch it, and I'm hoping for a knockout because that first movie was crap. And if this is
Wait,
good,
what movie?
Justice League.
No, what movie?
Oh yeah, what movie? It doesn't exist, right? What movie exactly?
I don't
But
even think. I think Scorsese was right about that.
yeah, right. I mean, come on, you're talking about Marvel. Salty that you didn't get hired by Marvel, by the way. But anyways,
Oh
like,
damn.
you know what I mean? Like talk about being salty, but yeah, that movie was not good. But what I'm saying is, let's say this Snyder cut is good. Um, does that put the DCEU back on track? I don't know, but if you start looking at our ranking, that adds another one. Like, let's say we love the Snyder cut. Let's say, right? We
Sure,
don't know, right? But so
sure.
it could be really bad, but it's already really bad, is what I'm saying. So like, we already rank Justice League below those top 4 movies that we named
Yeah,
earlier. Shazam, Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, Aquaman, and the others are kind of like, why do we even have them? But if this is good, that adds Justice League. That's a top 5. And then we only really have, Birds of Prey, Suicide Squad, and Batman vs Superman that's bad. And that's kind of like a pretty sturdy franchise if you look at something like the Fox franchise with X-Men, in ratio, that's pretty good. So like I think the comparing to Marvel is what kind of hurts DC sometimes. But if we just have this Justice League be really good, will that kind of change the way people start looking at the DCEU, and
I don't
hopefully,
know.
we can get something fixed and get people that actually care about it other than studio people handling this, because what the heck is going on over there?
Well, they're going to be there. It's just you need someone of the equivalent of like a Kevin Feige, because I think I brought this up on a podcast I was on with Real James, because he and I talked about Shazam.
That guy's really
Um,
cool. Real James is so dope.
oh yeah,
I saw him on
the Geekly Goods.
Geekly Goods with Angel. He was with
Yeah,
and then I was like, dude, who's this guy? He's really fun. So then I went and checked out his stuff, and I was like, oh, dude, this guy is great. And then didn't you just did one with him, right?
I did. I talked to him about Shazam, so get excited for that. But what we talked about was how like Walter Hamada, who's the head right now, he said something along the lines of, okay, Justice League is Earth 1, and the Batman with Robert Pattinson is Earth 2, right? This is the multiverse. We no one's ever done this before. It's just like saying things like that. I feel like it shows a disconnect of passion. You know what I mean? Like, because anyone who loves DC would know that Earth 2 is traditionally saved for the Justice Society, right? Why would you want to waste that with the Batman, right? Like, wait, which Justice League is Earth 1? Is it the Snyder Cut? Is it the movie we got? Is Shazam and Wonder Woman and Aquaman in the Snyder Cut world, or is it in that world? Like, oh no, it's Earth 1 and it's Earth 2. Oh my goodness. Kevin Feige would know better if he was in charge of DC. He wouldn't know better because those are potential investments, you know? Saying Earth 2 is going to be ... Saying Earth 2 alone, that gets fans excited. That gets them to purchase their tickets because they know, oh, Earth 2? That means Justice Society. I've been waiting to see the Justice Society. I guess not. You know?
Well, so okay,
Jeez.
so you say that, and I'm halfway there with you. And the only reason I'm halfway there with you is because I agree with what you said up until you add Superman into it, and like, and we mentioned earlier about a black Superman, and we didn't really get into it or whatever.
Right.
But if we had someone like a Val Zod, it would kind of make sense to I don't know. I would imagine Matt Reeves or like that universe having a Valzad Superman, and not it would kind of be refreshing. Like at first when I heard the news, I thought it was woke hunting, right? When I first heard it. When I
Right.
first heard it, I was like, oh man, like here it goes. Like Hollywood's just like, not that I'm opposed to it, but like we need more black superheroes, right? But those already, we can already, if it's really about being woke and it's really about that, and that's our agenda, like supporting black people, whatever,
Yeah.
then
Representing
you
them.
could take a traditionally black character and make him and show him to the world and be like that. That would really be the most right thing to do.
Right.
I'm not saying that this is wrong, but what I'm saying is, when that was my initial thought, but then I started thinking, man, this Pattinson Batman with what looks like the Riddler and the way this goes, if think about this, like, not that I would be opposed to a white Superman, in that world, but what
Right.
I'm saying is we've had a lot of them, and wouldn't it be a refreshing view and a take to have, especially in that gritty world, kind of like it looks a little more grittier, and so then you have this, kind of like a different look, and
Right.
this, he's not Clark Kent. It's a different. It's still Superman. He's Superman. He's Val Zod, but he's Val Zod. He's different. He's not Clark Kent. He's in this world. He's somebody. He's Superman. He embodies He is Superman, and we
Mhm.
show that he can be Superman and is Superman. But he's still a different entity, a different being. He's not
Yeah.
Clark Kent, and I would be totally down with that. That's what I'm saying about the Earth 2. Like, man, like, I feel you because I'm down, and they
Yeah.
do need a Feige. There is no other one. There's only one Feige. That sucks. But
Thought it would be Jeff Johns, but then we saw what happened there.
what
And
happened there? Yeah,
I'm
but
just
yeah,
saying, like, it's just so apparent that it's like, dude, I understand that this is a financial investment for you, and it should be. That should be the first thing you care about, right? I
right.
mean, you're putting a lot of money into it, but it's like, you, it's lore that the people paying for, I said this in that Shazam video, they are paying for continuity. They are paying for continuity and experts to make this stuff happen. That's why Marvel works so well. It's because it's people who know what they're writing. People know what they're doing. WandaVision? I mean, look at WandaVision, right? That is like so deep into the Marvel lore, and
Yeah.
people want more of that, especially with the A-list characters. So when this guy says Earth 1 is Justice League. Well, which one? Earth 1 and Earth 2. Earth 2 is the Batman. It's like I feel like there's a disconnect there, you know?
There is, yeah, yeah, and there is, right, and that what you said it best, continuity. The problem is like there is none in DC. There's all these different aspects where I can be where different fans can like different things, but you don't even know what's really connected and what isn't. Like
Mhm.
for example, this is a great example right here. I didn't know I watched Arrow. I'm from, you know, I watched the even the Super Friends, you know, I'm like
Damn.
that, you know, but then there's, you know, the animated, the Justice League, the animated Batman, you know, all these cool animated things, they don't connect. And I'm not saying that they had to,
Well,
but
what don't connect?
well, Justice League connects right to
Yeah.
other animation stuff
That's a whole world
as a
right there.
whole, you know.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, and now I forgot my point.
I'm sorry.
No, no, all good, all good. But dang, yeah, I forgot my.
You're talking about how you watch these shows coming out and it was about the continuity and everything.
Oh yes, yes, yes. So the perfect example is like I like Arrow, right? And
Right.
then yes, there's the Arrowverse, you know, with Flash and stuff like that, and that's cool, and that's cool. But then now there's these other shows, and like I don't know if they're connected or not, or like
Titans
are
and
they
Doom
connected to the
Patrol.
movie? Yes, so
Yeah.
I was gonna say like I like them individually. Like I started getting into it, and I, you know, I watched a few episodes. I'm not done with the seasons, but Titans, you know, from what I saw, I didn't watch it because I thought, man, like I saw the concepts and some of the clips, and I was like, no. But I watched it and I was like, it's cheesy as hell. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
so cheesy. It's melting cheese through my screen. I get covered in cheese after it. I'm like, gross.
You'd imagine it would belong on the CW.
You would, but but the themes though, the themes in it
Hmm.
are dark enough for to carry me through. It is corny, it is cheesy, but I mean, I'm a superhero. I love I hate when that's like the main complaint of why something doesn't work, you know, or they don't like it, you know, like it's corny, like
Superhero. Oh,
right,
corny. Okay. Okay.
right, you know, or like yeah, it's corny or cheesy. So that's not my main. That's what I'm saying. Like I'll watch cheese if like if you can hook me in with something else, right? If
Let's
there's something
melt
else,
the cheese rather than microwave the shit out of it.
right, right. And so I thought, and you know, maybe I get torn up in the comments or whatever, but again, like I stayed away from it because of you know, DC Legends of Tomorrow and like other shows where I was like, you know, do I need to watch the Titans? I finally watched Titans. Finally watched Doom Patrol. Do they connect? Probably not. I have no idea, but I'm watching it and they're dope. They're pretty dope.
Yeah.
I'm, you know, I'm in it, and it sucks that they're not connected to the movies, and there's so many good, like
Multiverse, bro.
it's so
Oh, not
crazy.
anymore, because even though the CW said this is Earth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they included Titans, they included Doom Patrol
Okay.
in that map,
Oh man,
Hamada comes out and says, oh no, that's Earth 1. That's Earth 2. Basically, this to the fans. I mean,
it's so
I
bad.
might sound like a raging nerd right now, but I
Yeah.
feel like that's disrespectful to the people who are paying and what the customer. I feel
Well,
like that's disrespectful.
especially when they already created something that everyone clamored was great, right? And so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought they did a fairly good job, and like I said, you know, I didn't know that they were included. You know, because I haven't been watching that universe all the way through. You know, like I
Oh
said,
yeah.
I only watched like 4 seasons of Arrow. I only watched 2 seasons of Flash. I watched I only watched 2 episodes or like four. No, it was like 3 or 4 episodes of DC Legends of Tomorrow, and I was like, dude, no, I can't do it.
Oh no.
I can't do it. You know, Gotham. I watched the first season of Gotham, and
Mm,
it was okay. It was okay. You know,
but not
um,
enough.
but I watched. But Doom Patrol is pretty. It hooks me. Like characters, I'm interested.
Right.
Brendan Fraser is in it. You know, so
My man.
it's funny. Yeah, my man, he's in it. And then like I said, Titans. Robin's pretty cool. I like Robin. You know, I liked him in it. And Starfire was surprisingly cool in the
Yeah.
show. Again, cheesy, very cheesy, but I again from the concept of just looking at it, I thought, oh man, this is gonna be horrible. And I watched it and I was like, this is actually not that bad. It works, you know, it works. So
Well,
um, Those are the shows I'm watching. So
Well, I mean, this is a Wonder Woman podcast. I do
yeah.
have one last point about Wonder
Okay.
Woman. Thank you guys for sticking around if you're still here. I'm sorry we're getting off track and all that. We have to talk about the involvement of Wonder Woman in the Snyder Cut. This is obviously the journey to the Snyder Cut, and Wonder Woman's in it. We're going to get a new take on Wonder Woman in this film. So obviously in the movie that came out in 2017, Justice League, Wonder Woman was kind of pushed to the side, kind of similar to her involvement in BVS, where she's just there for fighting mainly. There's some scenes with her, talking to Bruce and everything, but mainly it is an exposition as well, but it's mainly just brute force. How do you picture her involvement in this 4 hour longer? So there must be more time, right, to show Wonder Woman in this team.
I think that she's gonna play a bigger role because she's part of the Trinity. It would only make sense that she plays a bigger role because of BVS, right? So I don't like that movie, but yes, the way they portrayed her was just physical force in that movie too. But if you think about it, the few seconds that she's not fighting in those movies, she's showing that she's been documented, she's been knowing what's up even longer than Batman, longer than any of these guys. So like for her not to play like a very big important voice on that team just wouldn't make sense. Again, in the context of your own film, your own universe, you gotta. I don't care what it is. You just got to be consistent in it. And if you just showed me that she knew what's up, like for decades, for like probably a century, then it would only make sense that she is now saying, hey, these are the developments of these plans, and this is what I've seen coming, and I don't know. It would only make sense, and it would be weird if she was like a side character again, like in Justice League. Okay. Like how they did it, there's a lot of meddling and it was messed up the way it was. But I hope here Snyder understands, and it seems like what Nolan said to him, hey, don't go watch it. It seems like they understood that was a dumpster fire. That was like already failed before it was released, and don't go watch it. That's not out of my words. It's Nolan. Snyder even probably agrees with his friend Nolan. So we can safely say that we're on the opinion of Nolan and the creator himself, that is probably not, it's not a good work, and so are they going to develop the character? I would say they're going to develop all the characters like probably a little bit more than they did in that movie. So
shit, 4 hours, they better.
Yeah, so I don't know. So we'll see. I don't know what's gonna happen with Cyborg now that Cyborg's out, right? So I don't know what's gonna happen at all. And again, if it's successful, so what, right? It's cool. It kind of clears his name. We're kind of like, okay, all right. So Snyder, yeah, you're right. It wasn't you. You're right. But what does it do for the fan other than us clearing his name? You know what I mean? Which is cool. I'm not saying don't do it. If the dude's doing it, like, hey man, I'm down. And if you're fixing it and that's the objective, you're actually make this cool, dude, I am more than down. Go ahead. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying like, but what if it's good, right? What if it's good? So what? It's just gonna be good, right? It's gonna be good, and this guy clears his name. But as in terms of the universe, are we going that route now?
Yeah.
Are we not? What are we doing? So yeah, that's the thing where it sucks. If it's bad, it just stays bad how we thought it would, how it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's
but
just
yeah, those are really the two outcomes, But how do I see her progressing? I mean, I hope for I'm spending like half a day watching this movie. There better be some character development,
something substantial, right?
Right,
and different. Most importantly,
exactly.
I hope that like with any film, that there's a good showcase as to why these characters are there. They're utilized properly. I feel like that was a problem with the other film that they released, was that they didn't know what to do with a lot of them. And like some characters were so fat, like the Flash is obviously, you're going to run into that problem. He's so fast. So why doesn't he clean everything up real quick? So I hope that those issues are addressed within this film. And I don't know. I'm hoping for the best. I feel like that's a new catchphrase of mine. I'm hoping for the best when it comes to this movie, dude.
Mine is show it already.
That's true.
Yeah, that's been my catchphrase since, because at first I was like, what, Snyder Cut? Who cares? You know, like, what? It's bad. Like, let's just move on. Let's make it, let him do another movie, a different movie, and just continue on, and let's fix it and course correct. You know what I mean?
And he's doing Army of the Dead on
he's
Netflix.
doing Army of the Dead, yeah. Which looks fun. It looks fun, but I don't know. I don't know. that new Train to Busan movie also looked fun, you know. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so Train to Busan, you saw that one, right? That's amazing.
I actually have not seen that yet.
The first one.
Yeah, no, I've not seen it.
You haven't seen the first one? The first one, Train to Busan, not the new one that came out.
Look, we can harp on the fact that I've not seen Train to Busan, or we can harp on the fact that Angel has not watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet. You could pick one or the other, just one or the other.
Dude, what's wrong with him? Really, honestly, like, you haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., dude? And you're a Marvel fan, supposedly. Oh man, I question it. No, he's a fan. He's a diehard. That dude will jump in the pool for like some,
Well, that's for a DC announcement.
Kind of news. Yeah, any kind of news that was jumping in the pool.
Yeah, but that was when Batman was announced. So.
Oh, that was Batman. That's right. Yeah, no,
not after he watched the first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Dude, that show, I guarantee if he watches it all the way through, if you count, you'll start losing. You need more fingers to count the goosebump inducing moments. You will lose. And yes, it's 7 seasons, but the amount, count how many other shows, how many times they've given you goosebumps. It's probably not as much. Like, by the time you're done with that seventh season, Angel's gonna be, he's gonna wonder what the heck, like, why he was. I watched it like 2 years after it came out, like, because you were in my ear for like 2 years, and I was like, no, it's ABC, like, it's a TV show. What?
Yeah, they never made good shows before.
Yeah, they never made. Yeah, they come on, like, it's gonna be too kiddie for me. Like, I'm sticking to the MC. MCU's already pushing. Like, I'm cool, you know. And then, like, what, a year or two passes by, like, probably more than that. And I remember finally, like, okay, now I can stream them. Let me just watch them, because why not? I'm just sitting here eating, you know, I'm thinking of stuff to watch. I'm a Marvel fan. Let me watch it, you know? And then, like, first it was Deathlock. And then it's just, I don't want to spoil it for everybody. It's just thing after thing. If you are a Marvel fan, you will laugh, you will cry, you will jump and scream. I don't even know how many times by the end of, if you're done with that entire show, and you will see why they don't have Agent Coulson in the Avengers movies. It's because there would be no movie.
Daniel, I've been saying, look, let me tell you something. I've been saying this, and they don't want to hear it. So that's it. And that's how we know that this Wonder Woman podcast is done.
Yeah.
Where we get so excited about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So guys, thank you so much for bearing with us. We had a really good discussion, Daniel. I really do appreciate you coming back, because you are on another video, and hopefully we can talk more DC, because I know that Wonder Woman 84 is going to be the last one in the series until the Snyder Cut does come out. The day before Snyder Cut comes out, that will be the video. So maybe it'll be you, Angel, and I talking for another 6 hours about that. And yeah, I do appreciate you coming on, and maybe we can talk shit to Angel to his face.
Let's do it. I'm down. I'm always down.
Daniel, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Instagram, the show no one asked for, YouTube. We also have our shows coming out. Episode 620 should be coming out. Well, I don't know when this show is coming out, but it should be dropping. We just dropped episode 619. So yeah, we're trying to have guests on and you know, get our daily content. We normally talk like a bunch of stuff, but you know, pop culture, movies, TV, comics, video games, whatever comes to mind. We just, you know, BS around, we shoot the shit, you know, stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's where I'm at, you know, and
I listened to the last episode where you guys were getting really heavily into hip hop, you know,
that's right.
Top 10s, how you consider your top 10s, all of that.
Yeah, yes, yes, definitely. So yeah, again, we get into a bunch of different stuff. Hip hop was like heavy on the last one, but yeah, well, Saga MC, he's my co-host, so
Mhm.
he's an MC, so of course hip hop's gonna bleed into the show and stuff like that. But you know, making guest appearances like this is always fun, and especially on the GOAT. Like, thank you so much for having me. I am honored. I watch you guys' live streams. The stuff you guys produce is always like if you're a fan, you know, like the heavy nerd, you know, like the like the deep, everything is dissected, like literally every minute of things that come out, every logo, every type. Watch the GOAT podcast. Like that's what it's for. It's
Thank you.
for that. So I really appreciate you having me on.
Of
Thank
course.
you so much.
Well, it's too much fun. I am Julius, and that was Daniel. If you want to subscribe, you can do so. And when you do so, you will be helping us to our new goal of 10,000 subscribers. When we get to that point, it'll be 10,000 subscribers, and you'll be part of it. It's free, for God's sake, so please do it. You can find us wherever you find us. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, and goodbye.
Let's go.
The GOAT podcast is proof you don't have to look any further for movie news, reviews, trailer reactions, or special discussions. Subscribe, get notified about what's going on, and I promise you'll be entertained by our daily content on YouTube. If you want more, we're on Twitter at GOAT Film Podcast, Instagram The GOAT Podcast, and the GOAT Movie Group on Facebook. Get connected with us, see what's happening, and make sure to love it while you're doing so.